For updates on sports stories across the globe, Ebi Iyomo joins us. Good morning, Ebi.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo, and good morning, Vimbaye.
You got it right because I'm sitting next to you.
Good morning to our viewers as well. I got it right. So we'll quickly begin with the stories that we have. We'll start with the Super Eagles story. Nigerian defender, that's Benjamin Frederick, has been ruled out of the 2025 African Cup of Nations with injury. Frederick sustained a knee injury during training with Belgian Pro League outfit FC Denver. The 20-year-old featured in Nigeria's 2026 FIFA World Cup playoffs against Gabon and Democratic Republic of Congo. The rising star has started Nigeria's last 6 games under eggshell, and to be a big loss for Nigeria, who's seen him take a pivotal position there in the defense. Well, away from that, we have Cristiano Ronaldo will now be able to play for Portugal in their opening game at next summer's World Cup finals, despite his red card against the Republic of Ireland. Ronaldo was sent off for an elbow on Dario Oshie back during Portugal's 2-0 qualifying defeat earlier this month. Violent conduct normally carries a 3-match ban, but Ronaldo has had the second and third matches suspended for a year. The fact is, this was his first red card in 226 international appearances, and it was taken into account. Ronaldo sat out the match against Armenia on 16th of November, so will not miss any games in the United States next summer. And now to the Champions League. Chelsea crushed 10-man Barcelona 3-0 as Estaval outshone Lamine Yamal, scoring a stunning second-half goal. Ajus Kounde's own goal and Araújo's red card set the tone before the lab sealed it late, with Cucurella locking down Lamine Yamal. Maresca's bold strikerless setup delivered a dominant win and a spot in the Champions League top 8. Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola says he takes full responsibility after City's 2-0 home loss against Leverkusen. Pep made 10 changes to the starting lineup. In Italy, Napoli recorded the 2-0 home win against Karabakh as Scott McTominay was voted man of the match. And in France, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored twice in Marseille's 2-0 win against Newcastle as Dortmund trashed Villarreal 4-0. Benfica defeated Ajax away by 2-0, with Galatasaray, who were without Victor Osimhen, losing by a lone goal to Lyon SG. And 9 more matches we play today in the Champions League as Arsenal will take on Bayern Munich at home as both teams battle for top spot. Atleti hosts Inter, while Liverpool, who will be hoping to bounce back from the weekend's loss to Forest at home to PSV. Paris Saint-Germain take on Tottenham Hotspur, and Sporting CP will host Club Brugge. And finally, the Big Sports Dialogue 1.0 held at Villa Dome in Ikoyi and united top athletes, administrators, journalists, and policymakers to push for deep reforms in Nigerian sports. NSC Chairman Shehu Diko reaffirmed the government's commitment to rebuilding the sector, while DG Bukola Olokpade stressed transparency, athletes' welfare, and long-term planning. Convener, who is Aaron Akirejola, announced a forthcoming national reform roadmap with discussions on governance, failures, grassroots development, monetization, and the Super Eagles crisis. And stakeholders agree the dialogue marks the beginning of a true sports rebate for Nigeria. Well, that's all for me on Sports Day.
Well, congratulations again to Aaron on that fantastic outing. And I certainly hope that some of the recommendations that were made in those robust engagements will be followed through, because as was reiterated there, we do not lack ideas, but we lack implementation and follow through. Now, on my final note, you said Pep Guardiola took responsibility for Man City's loss. This is where the reform needs to happen, because what did Eric Schell say when the Super Eagles lost the World Cup qualifier? He said juju, right? So you see where the reform needs to begin, from taking accountability, from those who have stewardship over our sports. So let's compare the difference there and see what it takes to really make champions.
Right, it ought to have been a fine day. It was his 100th game as a coach of Man City. And so he was expecting to have, a nice day with Bayern Leverkusen. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. They beat Man City 2-0. And as Vimba already mentioned, he had said that perhaps his calculation of changing 10 times in the course of the game might have been responsible for their loss at that point. But it doesn't take away his great strides strides with Manchester City. As the 100th game he was having with them as coach, and we just want to applaud him for the great work he's done with Man City. I doubt very much, though, if they're going to be taking the EPL this year. I think it is Arsenal's turn to shine at the EPL. No, it's respect to Manchester United and the others, Chelsea and the likes who are trying. But yeah, I must say that despite that 2-0, it wouldn't overshadow his celebration as being at the helms of affairs at Manchester City, the 100th game in tow.
Okay, very quickly, the Winter Olympics flame will be lit today, but it won't be done outdoors in Olympia, Greece, because of the problem with weather. It will be done this year indoors. Previously, it was outdoors. And the Winter Olympics will take place from February 6th to 22nd in 2026. And then the Paralympics in March. We can always imagine that Nigeria's Paralympics team will do very well. We always do very well in the Paralympics. So we look forward to that. Now, as for the Champions League, I think the big story for me yesterday was that Chelsea managed to beat Barcelona 3-0.
Incredible.
But apart from those two big teams, it's also the battle of the 18-year-olds. Estavio Williams and Yamin Lamar, with Chelsea beating Barcelona. And people are now saying, oh, Williams is not a hype, after all. But in terms of the ratings, in terms of the statistics, Yamal is still very much ahead. Bashali at 69, he was in the ring. I box him, I will hit him. I don't know whether boxing is still for 69-year-olds. But Bashali says he's back in the ring. And he had, a demonstration match, more or less. Anyway, thank you very much. A.B. Young.